Neither can live while the other survives. Another episode of Fun Fiction.
Now, just a little forewarning, because my last name is Italian, and my boss mispronounced my name in front of the mayor and his staff, and then he got let go. So.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
He was fired for other reasons. He was embezzling. Anyways.
Anyway, it was all because of my last name, so just be careful.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
So welcome to Fun Fiction, a show about movies, media, and how the internet ruins it. I'm your host, Scotty Moore, joined this week by Ty Malugani.
There it is. That's all you need to say.
Probably the biggest Harry Potter nerd I know, I believe.
Me too. I don't know any other one besides myself either.
Which is weird because I date someone who's famously a Harry Potter nerd, but with you, you're my number one person to go to of like, yeah, this guy knows Harry Potter.
Yeah, some say it's an obsession.
Didn't you have a Harry Potter cake at your wedding?
I did have a Harry Potter cake. That was my groom's cake.
Oh, okay. Wait, yeah. I didn't know you could have...
No, it wasn't like the actual, the wedding cake wasn't Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That might have been a little much. No, my groom's cake was Harry Potter.
It wasn't an action figure of Hermione and Ron on the top of the cake, and you're like, this is it! This is what it has to be!
This is who it is.
Mm-hmm. So I'm happy because me and Brenna on the first episode we done on Harry Potter, we were very much like, we need to get Ty on because... Ty will rip you to shreds for talking shit on Harry Potter, and I'm happy I brought you on for this one, because I'm going to be honest, the fifth one may be probably not my first, because first is still Chamber of Secrets, but this is probably my second favorite of all of them so far.
Yeah, no, you chose a good one for me, too. This is one of my favorites as well. This is actually surprising, because this is one of my favorites, not only the book, but the movie, too. The
movie was very good. Like, it was paced, like, that was the problem I had with the past two. They were paced kind of weirdly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, all of them have, and I brought it up in this film as well, but it always seems like near the end, at the point where the plot needs to be coming together, and you don't need to be introducing anything else, there's always a scene that I've now dubbed the Groppy scene, where where JK's just like, look, I know we've got all this other stuff going on, Voldemort's back, Umbridge is literally the devil incarnate, but here's Groppy for a few scenes.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta break it up a little bit. I mean, it can't all be doom and gloom all the time.
Yeah, so you make a giant who, the whole time during that scene, I was just like, sloth love chunk.
Yeah, I mean, I think a Baby Ruth really would have added to that scene.
Ron pulls out a Baby Ruth, gives it to him. I was thinking, I don't know what it was about this movie itself, but I kept, re-scoring it in my head as if, a major... if Universal... Well, I guess, does Universal make Harry Potter? Because I know they have the theme park.
Yeah, I think that they own the rights to
the
movies. Just to the movies. I don't think they own anything to the books or anything.
Yeah, but I was just going to say, if they re-scored it and try to... You know when they try to make a book just too Hollywood, and they put in, garbage music to score over certain scenes?
Yeah.
I was doing that during the film. When Harry's, training all of Dumbledore's army, I was playing Space Jam in my head.
Nice.
He's getting them! Come on and jam! What was the other? I had a few of them. I've got a very long list of things to talk about, mostly the fact that Professor Umbridge looks like a bad Will Ferrell character.
I never thought about that before, but I think that's absolutely a spot-on analogy.
The first time I saw this film, I didn't watch it all the way through, but I was at Emily, my girlfriend's house, and we were watching... I was asleep because I had the flu. I woke up, she was watching it, and I was like, what's Will Ferrell doing in Harry Potter? And then I just fell back asleep. So, speaking of Umbridge, though...
Yeah.
In a post-Trump America, this film speaks volumes.
It does take on a little bit more meaning.
It does now, because she's just like, we must keep everyone silent about this. It's okay. We're just gonna, everything Harry Potter's saying is fake news. I would have believed it if J.K. Rowling wrote the word fake news as an Umbridge line.
So what you're saying? Let me just make sure I got this. You're saying that Fudge is Trump and Umbridge is Sarah Huckabee Sanders?
Oh my!
Is that what you're saying?
I was gonna say Umbridge was Trump because it's impossible for me not to connect Fudge to Churchill.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were so heavy-handed with it. Even the actor they cast, they were like, can you talk like him? And he's like, of course I can. Let's do this.
Oh, he just needed a cigar. Then he'd be done.
I could have sworn Fudge smoked a cigar in one of the films, but...
He might have. I mean, they changed him so much. I mean, he's just like, yeah, do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Umbridge is a garbage human being, and the scene where Harry gets Bart Simpsoned and has to write, what is it? I will not tell lies?
I must not tell lies.
And then it just starts appearing on his hand, and I'm like, oh, this isn't Trump anymore. This is Mike Pence territory that we're taking on now.
This is the alter ego. This is the other side of the coin.
Exactly. I wouldn't doubt, like, she would be like, we're gonna send Harry to a wizard camp that's going to train him to no longer believe he's a wizard. But he was born that way. No. We're going to train. No. We're going to get it out of him.
We're going to fix this child.
Mm-hmm. Also, the Room of Deus Ex Machina is my favorite plot point she's ever put in a book. Because apparently, I brought this up to Emily. I was like, if you're walking by that room and you just, like, have to piss, she's like, yeah, it'll be a bathroom. And I'm like, that's a big bathroom.
That's actually the exact analogy they used in the book.
Yeah, was if you walk by it and you're like, I gotta go.
Dumbledore said that in the book. He said I had to walk by and I had to piss, and not so eloquently. Not so eloquently.
I prefer that. Well, children, old Dumbledore was walking through, had to take him a big deucer, and then the door appeared out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Oh man,
it's a great room.
I just need you to know that I love Snape. And I also hate Snape.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of people.
Well, because
I mean, you're gonna get more conflicted.
Yeah. It's not.
Just be prepared.
As someone who was on the internet back when that spoiler came out.
Well, there you go.
I'm aware of that happening, but at the same time, it's also the way she portrays him, because there are scenes where he's just like, well, Potter, I'm going to go into your head, remove all of your thoughts about your horrible mother. And then there are scenes where he's like, and now I'm in a dress and we're gonna dance. Like, okay, buddy.
Yeah, he's kind of hot and cold.
Yeah, so what would you say, what brings you to love, I was about to call it Phantom Menace, Order of the Phoenix so much?
Well, I think it was partly whenever I first read the book. Yeah. I'm gonna go off the books initially.
Okay.
When I first read the book, I was in that prime angsty teen years that Harry's in.
Yeah.
And we had similar experiences. I really connected with him. I mean, Dark Wizard killed my parents too.
Yeah.
We connected with a lot of things.
Which, by the way, when you're watching it as a grown-up, that angsty thing doesn't appeal to you as much as you're like, just shut up.
Not nearly as much.
You're like, just shut up, Harry. Just stop.
Yeah, because I remember reading the book. I was like, yeah, I know, Harry. It sucks. And then now I'm like, all right, Harry, come on, just grow up, dog. It's going to be all right. You're going to be fine.
You're like, Harry, calm down.
I just loved, I don't know, I think this movie and book, to me, the reason I love it so much is it shows how human Harry is.
Right.
Like, he's not some perfect little kid anymore. Like, he messes some stuff up.
Like, this is the turning point of the meme of the first 3 books. He's like, yeah, I'm Harry Potter. Then for the rest, he's like, ah, shit, I'm Harry Potter. This is the turning point.
This is that point.
Mm-hmm. Which, speaking of things Harry does that's terrible, could we just talk about the scene, and I'm going to have to go off the movie because I just did not have time to read the book.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
The scene where everyone else has left the room of requirement, it's just him and Cho.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And he walks up and he's just like, you miss your... I don't know why, but he's got that deep, like, you miss your boyfriend, don't you? You want to make out in front of his photo?
Yeah. Like, he's an opportunist.
It's the worst thing possible. I'm like, his photo is staring at you, Harry.
That's pretty bad, too. I also call into question the lack of hands
Wait.
Like, their hands are straight down. Watch that scene again. Neither of them raise their hands. They don't, like, hold each other. They don't, like, he doesn't go for, like, the push the hair behind the ear move. Like, nothing. They just, and then they choreograph their head rotating to turn to the other side. Watch it again. It's just, and if you love cringy kiss scenes,
it's a good one.
Just look forward to the next one.
Oh, no, really?
Look forward to number 6. I'm excited to hear what you say about that.
It's like old Danny Radcliffe didn't want to kiss her, and they're like, okay, I guess we're just going to have to CG this. And they just took 2 CG models, moved them together, and tilted the heads.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, it's... I think, if I remember reading or hearing something, I think it was either his or her, like, first kiss.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did read about that.
Yeah, so I'm like, dang.
Well, the worst part is also the follow-up scene where Harry is basically kissing and telling to his bros. And one of his lines is, well, she was crying a little bit, because of her dead boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Harry, you're digging yourself into a hole that's getting deeper and deeper, my boy.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That does show, like, Ron's support.
Yeah.
Like, after all of that, Ron's just like, nah, man, you're good. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it.
Although, to be fair, the opening scene where Ron and Harry, I guess, lock eyes for the first time in this movie, I did have this thought of, like, wait, do they hate each other or not? I can't remember because of the last movie.
Well, no, I mean, Harry was a little pissed at the beginning of this. I mean, a little pissed throughout the whole movie.
Throughout the rest of the series, I'm assuming.
The rest of the series, he's just a little pissed.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, I would be a little upset too if my best friends kept me in the dark all summer.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, no, it's because you have Satan inside of your skull, Harry. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about
Thanks,
that. Also, off topic. Well, I'm not fully off topic, but Creature. The fucking worst thing on the planet, dude.
Oh, man, no, he gets better.
Really? Because Emily was like, he's the worst thing.
Yeah, I mean, I just think he was just very adequately named.
Yeah, he's just like, what's up?
I do like the foresight, though. Obviously, if you didn't read the books, I don't know if you noticed this or knew of this, but Creature is spelled with a K.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, at least they, like, had the foresight to be like, oh, well, we're gonna make it a little different. We're not gonna, like...
Until you have to say it out loud, then you're like, oh, that's just Creature.
Yeah, that's just Creature.
Or then there are names like Hermione, where you could read it for years and be like, oh, Hermie 1's coming in.
Exactly. That's where, I think that's really the true value of the audiobooks.
Yeah. I just feel like this one is the closest, like, when people talk about, like, why Shakespeare is still relevant to this day, it's like, well, it's because it still relates to human things. This is the one that's the most relatable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, the serious Black and Harry scene is basically just talking about puberty.
Yeah.
He's just like, something's in my head, it's making me do weird things. And he's like, don't worry, child, you're gonna start growing hair in strange places. Seriously?
Yeah.
Am I a werewolf like you?
Speaking of great Harry Sirius scenes, how about that scene at the train station when Sirius is just like, they just decided, you know what? Let's not have Sirius wear actual clothes. Let's give him a dog-style robe to wear.
Another thing I did not pay attention to. What?
You must have been asleep during this part. You need to go back and watch this part. This is the weirdest part. So you know how, like, normal wizards, like, when they change from the animal back to their human form, they're just wearing their clothes that they are wearing. Well, either they decided not to do that this time, or Sirius was doing some weird stuff and was in a hurry and he had to, like, get out. Because he's, like, up in the train station, and the best part is he, like, has a picture of the Order of the Phoenix, and he's like, here are your parents, and me and Wormtail and Lupin, we're on the Order of the Phoenix, it's fun, and I'm sitting here in my dog robe.
So wait, what you're proposing is that not just as a dog, like, he's not just a normal dog, he's also a furry?
That's what, I mean, I'm wondering if he was just, like, super busy.
Yeah.
And, like, lost track of the time, and he was like, oh, gotta get out of here. Oh, well. I probably won't turn back into a human until I get back home. And he forgot about the picture.
Yeah.
Which also begs the question, where did he put the picture?
It was in the dog's stomach the whole time.
He had to vomit it back up.
Wait, what if it's that he's not turning into a dog the whole time? It's when he turns back into a human, he's inside the dog, but really tiny. He's shrinking.
He shrinks and sits inside the dog.
Yes. He pilots it like a mini dog mech suit.
That would be a major twist, I think.
This is my new favorite canon for this film, that Sirius Black is essentially Krang, but wizard. Oh, we all remember Black's battle against the turtles that knew karate. I will say this film has my favorite scene in any Harry Potter film so far.
Yeah.
Would you like to guess or like relent yours? Because mine's gonna beat yours no matter what.
Well, we've already discussed some of my favorite scenes.
I will say the scene at the end with all of the Order of the Phoenix coming in like Power Rangers to like showing up like
with the white light.
That's a really dope scene, but that's not my favorite. Dope. My favorite is when Dumbledore is getting I guess he's getting arrested or whatever after they've caught his army, which secondary thing. Why call it Dumbledore's army if they're like, why are you arresting him? Well, it's called Dumbledore's army. Yeah, but he's not part of it. Why is it called Dumbledore's army then? Harry was like, I didn't want to call it Harry's army. It felt a little too selfish.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had a lot of introspection in this book, in this movie, so that's probably the reason. A little bit more humble.
But anyways, then Dumbledore backs up and is just like, well, you think that I'm going to go easy. Then, in a RuPaul Drag Race-esque stuff, like the most flamboyant move, claps his hands as a phoenix comes through and just disappears.
It's baller.
Well, actually, to quote, oh god, what's his name? One of the 5 black characters in all of these movies.
Kingsley Shacklebolt.
Yeah, Kingsley. He just, like, leans over and is just like, Dumbledore got style.
Exactly,
like, yes!
Exactly.
Thank you, Kingsley! I love you!
He's a great character. I love Kingsley.
Oh, here was another one from the Scotty Moore reboots this film series. When the twins come in during the Owls, and what is the closest thing to me and Blake Tanner I've ever seen in a film. When that happens in my version, Party Rock Anthem starts playing. So yeah, that's my idea for that.
That's great. Yeah. I love it. I mean, I think that you're onto something here. I think that you should go through all the movies and just do a new soundtrack.
Yeah. Dude, I love the twins so much. They're probably my favorite characters in the entire film.
They're great. They're great.
I did get something. Well, I knew about this, so it wasn't technically a spoiler, but spoilers ahead for those who are watching along with me. I did get a spoiler from Emily when I was like, I feel like I'm both of them. And she goes, don't worry, you'll feel like you're just one of them by the end of the series. And I went, don't! Stop!
That's cold.
That's real cold. I was like, baby, don't do that to me.
Oh, one of my favorite parts is actually what is near the beginning, when Harry's just like sitting on a swing, Dudley and his gang come up, and Dudley's just like the ultimate punk and is like, "Where's your mom at, Potter?
Yeah.
Is your mom dead?"
It was filmed. It was filmed so weirdly that I thought it was a dream.
It could have been.
I was like, "This has to be a dream. There's no way it's not." And she's like, "No, it's real." It's also when the film goes from, like, normal color to... Like, you know in The Wizard of Oz how it goes black and white to color when they go to Oz?
Oh, yeah.
It's like they were taking you into the world of Harry Potter by having it look like the normal world for a few seconds. Then when the Dementor shows up, it turns that faithful color of Harry Potter blue that all of these films take on. I was like, oh, I forgot I was watching a Harry Potter film, but then they just turned that tent right up.
Oh, I love it. I love that theory, too. Mm-hmm. Maybe a storm causes...
Harry Potter. It causes Harry Potter.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. I also reached a point near the end where, firstly, when I lost Sirius Black, I realized I don't have to do this anymore because fuck that. Very upset.
Yeah, that was a rough one. I
was very sad. But I hate to say it, I started to kind of appeal to the Ministry of Magic. Because I'm like, the only person who says that Voldemort's back is Harry. He's the only person with any concrete evidence. Everyone else, it's all, bugaboo. So to them, they're literally just being like, yeah, that's a child. It's just a kid saying this. Everyone calm down. And then, like, Hogwarts is going uproarious because they just lost, Edward Cullen. And, and so, like, I'm all for, like, oh yeah, we'll just send Umbridge and then she'll help calm everything down. The problem is they sent Umbridge.
Right, who's the exact opposite of calming everything down.
She's like, we're going to make everything a lot worse.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I mean, it really is like an authoritarian government at that point.
Yeah, very, very much so. But you know what is not an authoritarian government?
What's that?
Oh, you've never been on this show, so you don't know what it's like when I have to plug things. Like,
oh, yes! I love your plugs!
Like patreon.com/a-load-of-BS. That's the website where you can support us. You can give us money, damn it, so we can afford people like Ty. I had to pay him $5 million to get him away from his rigorous routine of improv comedy.
That's true, and watching Harry Potter.
Yeah. Is it bad? I was halfway tempted to be like, I'm not gonna tell him that he has to bring a fan fiction and then just force you to improv comedy a whole fanfic.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Over the course of, it was like a week and a half, I've been looking over some fanfics. I never found any that I really fell in love with until actually today.
Oh, really?
I was very close to just being like, I'm just gonna wing it.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Oh, also, if you donate on patreon.com/loadofbs, you get access to our Discord and shout it out on the show of your choice every single week, like Joe Gennaro, the Patreon saint of fun fiction. So donate at patreon.com/loadofbs. Now, Ty, you told me you've been listening to the shows.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I've done, but it must continue.
It's something where I've kind of fallen in love with it.
Because we're going back to the world of My Immortal, unfortunately.
I'm honest. I'm gonna be honest. I'm actually looking forward to it. Like, so I've binge listened to you reading My Immortal.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's addictive.
It's a drug.
I need some more. I'm scared for it to end, I'm going to be honest.
Well, I mean, last time we learned that apparently Ebony Dementia Darkness Ravenway, who I think is Gerard Way's daughter, I don't know how she's related to Gerard Way, but I'm sure that's in there somewhere, that she's apparently the only one that can kill Voldemort.
Right.
Keep in mind,
which is it's a big responsibility.
Well, not only that, keep in mind, Harry Potter does still exist in this universe. He's just called Vampire now. Right.
Which, I mean, it might be difficult for him now. I mean, it might be more difficult.
What if it is, like, because I think Vampire and Ebony, or Anobi as she's called sometimes, maybe they had intercourse at some point and he transferred it to her. Now she's the girl who lived.
I got you.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I mean, if you think about it, they would be kind of like, wait, who of them are Eskimo cousins or Eskimo brothers? Because it didn't Vampire Harry and Draco?
Yes, they did.
They did some stuff, and then Draco and Ebony did some stuff. So it's kind of like a transfer of power. Maybe it was like went through Draco.
Oh, I like that.
See, this is what's fun about this. We've gotten to the point where we're dissecting this fanfiction.
This reminds me of the time that I was on a long car trip and we listened to all of R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet and started breaking that down piece by piece. All right, let's get into it, though, with chapter...
I'm excited.
My favorite thing is this was reposted on fanfiction.net, and every single chapter he begins with, I don't own this, and I did not write this. All right, buddy. Chapter 23. The door opened, and Professor Umbridge and Cornelia Fudge stomped out angrily. Then Dumbledum and Umbridge sawed us. Mr. Way, what the beep are you doing? Umbridge shouted angrily. Dumbledore blared at her. Oops, she made a mistake. He corrupted her. She means, hi, everybody, come in. Well, we all came in angrily. So did all the other students. I sat between Darkness and Draco and opposite Bloody Mary. Crabbe and Goyle started to make some morbid jokes. They both looked exactly like Vilvalo. What? Okay. I assume that's the lead singer of a band that I don't know. I ate, E-I-G-H-T, some Count Chocula and drank some blood from a cup. Then I heard someone shooting angrily. I looked behind me. It was Vampire? He and Draco were shooting at each other. Vampire Draco, what the fuck? I asked. You fucking bastard, yelled Draco at Vampire. I want to shit next to her. I pray that's a misspelling. No, I do, he shouted. No, she doesn't fucking like you, you son of a bitch, yelled Draco. No, fuck you, motherfucker. She laughs me, not you, shouted Vampire, and then he jumped on Draco. No, not in that way, you perv. They started to fight and beat up. They started to fight and beat up each other. Dumbledore yelled at them, but they didn't stop. All of a sudden, a terrible man with red eyes and no nose flew in on his broomstick. He had no nose and was wearing a gray robe. All the glass in the window he flew through fell apart. Brittany, that fucking prep, started to cry. Vampire and Draco stopped fighting. I stopped eating. Everyone gasped. The rooms fell silent. Voldemort! Ebony. Darth Vader said evilly in his raspy voice, Thou have failed your mission. Now I shall kill thou, and I shall kill Vampire as well. If thou dost not kill him before, then I shall kill Draco too. Please don't make me kill him, please, I begged. No, he laughed crudely. Kill him, or I shall kill him anyway. Then he flew away cackling. I bust into tears. Draco and Vampire came to contort me. Okay. Her leg goes up here.
Yeah.
Suddenly my eyes rolled up so they looked all cool and gothic and like The Undertaker. I had a vision where I saw some lightning flash and then Voldemort coming to kill Draco while Draco slit his wrist in a depressed way. Well, to be fair, he could just wait at that point.
Yeah.
No! I screamed sexily. Suddenly I locked up and stopped having the vision. Ebony, are you sure you're all right? Asked Draco in a worried voice. Yeah, I said sadly as I got up. Everything's all right, Anobi, said Vampire all sensitive. No, it's not! I shouted angrily, tears of blood down my face. Oh my fucking god, what if I'm getting possessed like in The Ring 2? It's okay, girl, said Bloody Mary. Maybe you should ask Professor Sinister about what the visions mean, though. Okay, bitch, I said sadly, and then we went. Chapter 24. Well, we had deviation next, so I got to ask Professor Trevorly about the visions. Konnichiwa, everyone, come in, said Professor Sinister in Japanese. She smelled at me with her gothic black lipstick. She's the coolest fucking teacher ever. She had long, dead black hair with blood-red tips and red eyes. Her mom was a vampire. She also half Japanese because she speaks it and everything. She Bloody Mary get along great. She's really young for a teacher. Today she was wearing a black leather top with red lace and long gothic black ribbed dress. We went inside the black classroom with pastors of Emily the Strong. I raised my hand. I was wearing some black nail polish with red pentagrams on it. What is it, Enobi? She asked. Hey, I love your nail polish. Where'd you get it, Hot Topic? Yeah, I answered. All the preps who didn't know what Hot Topic was gave me very weird looks. I gave them the middle finger. Well, I have to talk to you about some things. When do you want to do it? How about now? She asked. Okay, I said. Okay, class fucking dismissed, everyone, Professor Trevorly said, and she let everyone go. Except for you, Brittany. She pointed at Brittany and some other preps. Please do exercise 1 on page 3. Okay, I'm having lots of visions, I said in a worried voice. I'm so worried Draco is going to die. Well, she gave me a black crystal ball to look in. I looked at it. What do you see? She asked. I said I see a black gothic skull and a pentagram. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. I looked at it. It was Draco. He was looking very sexy, wearing a black leather facet. Yep, black gothic Linkin Park t-shirt and black Congress shoes. Congress shoes! You know, Chuck Taylor's Congress. Whoa! The swear level is going off the charts here. Okay, you can go now. See ya, C-word, said Professor Sinister. Bye, bitch, I said, waving. I went to Draco and Vampire. I was sitting next to him. We both followed Draco together, and I was so exhibited. Chapter 25. I was excited. It's like she heard her say I was so exhibited in the previous chapter. It's like, I need to correct this.
Right, right.
I followed Draco, wondering if we were going to do it again. We went outside, and then we went into Draco's black car. Ebony, what the fuck did Professor Trevorley say? Whispered Draco, potting his gothic wit hand with black nail polish on mine. She said she would tell me what the visions meant tomorrow. I grumbled in a sexy voice. Oh, wait, hold on. She told me what the visions would be tomorrow. He took out a heroin cabaret and spiked it and gave it to me to spork. That's the most buck wild sentence this has had so far. He took out a heroin cabaret and spiked it and gave it to me to spork. Oh man, that one's gonna take some doing to really understand. I'm gonna be honest, that's beyond me. He started to fly the car into a tree. We went to the top of it. Draco put on some MCR. And all the things that you never ever told me, and all the smiles that are ever gonna haunt me, sang Gerard's sexy voice. We started tiling of each other's clothes fervently. He took of my black thong and my black leather bar. I took of his black boxers. Then he put his throbbing you-know-what into my tool sexily. Oh, thank God, Draco! I screamed, having an orgasm. We stitted Frenching passively. I suddenly fell asleep. Draco not that good then.
That's a little rude.
I started having a dream. In it, a black guy was shooting two gothic men with long black hair. Okay, I hope she means a man in black robes.
I hope she means Kingsley.
He's like, Dumbledore got style! Bam! No, please don't fucking kill us! They pleaded, but he just kept shooting them. He ran away in a red car. No, oh my fucking God! Shouted in a scared voice. Ebony, what's wrong? Draco asked me as I woke up, opening my icy blue eyes. I started to cry and tears of blood went down my face. I told Draco to call Vampire. He did it with his black Lincoln Park Mobile. But the worst thing was the people who were shot in the dream. They were Lucian and Sirius. Oh no.
Damn.
Chapter 26. A few mutates later, Vampire came to the tree. He was wearing black leather Jackson, black leather pants, and good Shroudlet t-shirt. Hi, Vampire, I said flirtily as I started to sob. Don't start to flirt if you're about to cry, okay? Okay, Draco hugged me sexily, trying to comfort me. I started to cry tears of blood and then told them what happened. Ah, fuck it! Vampire shouted angrily. He started to cry sadly. What fucking dick did that? I don't know, I said. Now come on, we have to tell Dumbledore. We ran out of the tree and into the castle. Dumbledore was sitting in his office. Sir, our dads have been shot, Draco said, while we wiped some tears from his white face. Enobi had a vision in a dream. Dumbledore started to cockle. And how do you expect me to not know Ebony's not divisional? I glared at Dumbledore. Look, motherfucker, he said angrily as Dumbledore gasped. You know very well that I'm not decisional. Now get some fucking people out there to look for Sirius and Lucian. Pornto. Okay. Okay. He said in an intimated voice. Where are they? I thought about it. Then all of a sudden... And then all of a sudden, Longden, I said. I told him which street. He went and called some people and did some stuff. After a few mistunes, he came back and said people were going out looking for them. After a while, someone called him again. He said that they had been found. Draco, Vampire, and all left to our rooms together. I went with Draco to wait in the nurse's office while Vampire went to slit his wrists in his room. We looked at each other's gothic depressed eyes. Then we kissed. Suddenly, Sirius and Lucian came in on stretchers. And Professor Sinister was behind them. Chapter 27. Vampires will never hurt you. Oh, this one has a title. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Everyone in the room started to cry happily. I had saved them. Draco, Lucian, Sirius, Bond, Vampire all came to hug me. The nurse started to give them medicine. Come on, Enobi. They spelled that in a very... Okay. Said Professor Sinatra. She was wearing a gothic black leather dress with a corset top and real vampire blood on it and fucking black platinum boots. I have to tell you the fucking perdition. Okay, I looked at Lucien Serif's Drake and Vampire. They nodded. I smelled happily and went into a dark room. I had changed Professor Sinister, took out some black cards. She started to look into a black crucible ball. She said, Tara, I see Drac times are near, she said badly. It's the most accurate thing this has said so far. She peered into the balls. You see, you must go back in time. Marty, we gotta go back. She took out a time toner like Bloody Mary had. When Voldemort was in Hogwarts before he became powerful, he got his hearth broken. Now do you think he would still become Voldemort if he was in love? I shook my head. You must go back in time and seduce him. It is the only way. If he's still evil, then you must kill him. You can come to my room tomorrow and you can do it. Okay, I said sadly. We did death's touch sin. That's the sentence. That's all it's
Yeah.
I went outside again, sadly. What fucking happened? Asked Draco and Vampire. Yeah, what happened? Asked Darkness, Willow, and Boldy Mary. I was about to tell them, but everyone was there. They were celebrating Lucian and Sirius being fond. Everyone was proud of me, but I just wanted to talk to Draco. They were cheesing my name, and some reporters were there trying to interview Dumbledore. A banner was put up. Lots of fucking preps were obviously trying to be gothic or wearing the hymn sign on their hands, despite them never having actually heard of him. Even Mr. Norris looked happy. A black and red cake had been brought out. Crabbe and Goyle set up some fireworks in the shape of skulls from Weasley's Wizard Wises. I put on my invisibility cloak with Vampire and Draco, and we sneaked outside together. To be continued. Holy shit.
Man, we traveled a little bit then.
We time traveled, apparently.
Well, I think we're about to.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
Oh my god.
God, I'm so pumped for that. I'm so happy that that's the way that they're going to try to get rid of Voldemort.
Yeah.
Through love. I mean, it's no violence. You don't need violence.
Through love and sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's how that might be my favorite segment that we've done.
That was good.
Yeah. So what did you bring to the table? And I'm already saying it's not gonna beat it. Love you, but
well, I mean, I already admit it's probably not gonna beat it, but I did find a pretty good one.
Okay.
Now this one does have 14 chapters, so I'm not gonna read all 14 chapters. But what I am going to do is give everyone a little taste.
Okay.
So they can go out and find it on their own. Now, I do feel like, I know sometimes you give a little disclaimer before yours. I'm going to give a little disclaimer before mine that none of these views are my own. That typical disclaimer of none of the views are my own. I do not agree with most all of this. So I have to say that before that.
Yes, thank you. They're also not, I'm going to assume in advance, not held by the fun fiction producers, recorders, or editors.
Right, exactly.
All of which are me.
So, yeah, please don't come after us. Now, that being said, there's a lot. We're going to explore some stereotypes tonight.
Oh, no.
If that's cool with you.
Okay.
And so we're gonna roll with this. So I'm going to start off with the author's note, which I think is going to give a good vibe for what we're going to be doing tonight. All right, so author's note. Hello, friends. My name is Grace Ann. I'm new to this whole fan fiction thing, but recently I've encountered a problem that I believe this is the solution to. My little ones have been asking to read the Harry Potter books, and of course I'm happy for them to be reading. Now here's the kicker. But I don't want them turning into witches. So I thought, why not make some slight changes, keyword there, slight changes to these books to make them family friendly. And then I thought, why not share them with all the other mommies who are facing the same problem?
Well,
so ta-da, here it is. I'm so excited to share this with all of you. So without further ado, chapter 1.
As someone who's about to have a baby, I'm very happy that I'm going to have this in my back pocket to pull out with my children.
You know, I would save that statement.
Okay.
For a little bit. Now, granted, luckily these chapters are not long at all. So we're going to start off with chapter 1. And what story doesn't start off with a solid once upon a time? Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Harry Potter who lived under the stairs in a house on Privet Drive with his aunt and uncle. He was a good, obedient boy who did all his chores. But he felt that there was something missing in his life, something big and special, but he couldn't quite name it. He stayed up every night and wished for this special something. But then one day, there was a knock at the door, and everything changed. "Answer the door, Harry!" His Aunt Petunia, a career woman, barked from her armchair, where she sat with her feet up. She had short, curly blonde hair and never wore any makeup. Mm-hmm. Uncle Vernon nodded sheepishly from the kitchen and put a tray of moist, chocolatey brownies in the oven. "Shouldn't you be doing that?" Harry thought, but he was a very obedient young boy, so he answered the door right away. He turned the brass metal doorknob and pulled open the heavy wooden door. On the porch was standing a huge, muscular man with a big, manly beard, and he was dressed in a plaid, red shirt, blue jeans, and sturdy leather boots. His chest was covered in a thick, unruly carpet of coarse, brown hair. He wore a necklace that looked to Harry like a lowercase t, no foreshadowing there.
Oh, no.
Just looking at Harry felt happy, peaceful somehow, but he couldn't say why. "Good morning, kiddo," the man greeted amiably, and he smiled at Harry. He had the peaceful, friendly sort of face you just knew you could trust. "My name is Hagrid. Could I speak to your mommy and daddy?"
God.
"I don't have a mommy or daddy," Harry replied sadly, and looked at his raggedy old shoes that were blue. Perhaps that is why he felt so lonely, he thought, not for the first time. Maybe that's what he was missing, a mommy and daddy. But no, that was not quite right. "I'm sorry to hear that," Hagrid uttered empathetically.
Your fucking Hagrid voice.
"You can speak to my auntie and uncle," Harry retorted politely and blinked his big, blue, childlike eyes. "What do you want?" Aunt Petunia peered out the door with her narrow, suspicious eyes, and she was wearing a baggy, unflattering pantsuit. "Hello, neighbor, I was wondering if you have been saved," Hagrid exclaimed brightly, and tipped his wide-brimmed straw cowboy hat. Aunt Petunia laughed a gravelly laugh, and leaned forward on her sturdy, practical boots. "Saved? Don't tell me you're one of those Christians!"
Oh, God.
Harry did not know what that word meant, but Hagrid's smile was the most peaceful smile he'd ever seen. It made Harry feel warm and happy inside, just seeing the glowing, radiant grin on the kind, friendly stranger's face. He wondered why Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon did not smile like that. "Yes, I am," Hagrid replied kindly. "Are you?" Aunt Petunia laughed again, and stuck her pointy, sharp nose up in the air. "We are too smart for that. Haven't you read Dawkins? God is dead. Dawkins proved that."
Jesus
Christ. Would you like us to educate you on the Dawkins? "What is a Christian?" Harry queried innocently, and scuffed his shoe on the shaggy yellow carpet, which had not been vacuumed in quite some time. "Christians are people who want to be good," Hagrid explained wisely, and crouched down so he was on eye level with Harry. "We want to go to heaven after we die. Do you know what heaven is, Harry?" Harry shook his head, and his eyes were wide and curious. "Heaven is a beautiful place where we can be with God." Aunt Petunia smacked her hands over Harry's young ears, and her voice was sickly sweet when she said, "Thank you very much for your concern, sir, but he does not need your religion. He has science and socialism and birthdays. Haven't you heard of
birthdays?
Haven't you heard of evolution? I have a very good textbook on evolution, and I could give you it if you'd like to learn things." Hagrid laughed wisely. "Evolution is a fairy tale. You don't really believe in it, do you?" "Yes, I do," Aunt Petunia screeched. "Well, then prove it." Aunt Petunia could only stare at him, and her big mouth hung open dumbly. Here she thought she was so educated, and always demanded that Christians prove what they believed in, but she couldn't even prove her own religion. It was then that Harry knew who the smart one here was. Tell me how to get to this heaven place, Harry cried wistfully, clasping his hands together. Sometimes the wisdom of little ones is really amazing. We think we grown-ups know it all, but then God speaks through the mouths of the little ones and shows us how we are all mortals struggling along the path of life. Humility. All you have to do is be saved. Do you want to be saved? I do, Harry squealed, jumping up and down. Then pray the sinner's prayer. Aunt Petunia tried to stop him, but she was powerless against Harry's pure, innocent, holy energy. Soon, Harry had said the prayer. Hagrid beamed happily. You're a Christian now, Harry! Hagrid cried proudly. Harry smiled, but then interrogated. But how do I be a Christian? I don't know how.
Dang it. I thought, you're a Christian, Harry. I'm a what?
A Christian. I'm just Harry. Just Harry. Hagrid grinned widely. There's only one place to learn that. Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles. Author's note. So what do you all think? I may not be a professional writer, but I think I've been given the talent to pull this off in the service of a greater mission. Blessings. End of chapter 1.
What do y'all think? Pretty good, huh?
Oh God, I did not read it all.
Yeah.
It gets pretty good. It gets to the point. So I could read another chapter if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead. I honestly thought it was gonna be on some Book of Mormon shit when you hello, my name is Brother Hagrid.
Ding dong.
And I would like to share with you this most amazing book.
That's kind of how I think that's kind of how that first chapter went.
Yeah.
All right, this second chapter is very short. All right, chapter 2, New Horizons. I'm not going to read the author's note. You got to just go back and read them. They're pretty long and tiresome. Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles? Harry queried and clasped his hands. Just at hearing that name, he felt such a sense of inner peace. He wanted to have more of that peace, and he wanted to learn how to be a good Christian. He was starting to think that peace and being a good Christian were in fact the exact same thing. I want to go there. Hagrid beamed widely. He had been praying so hard to save a soul today, and he was so happy to have saved the soul of such a sweet, earnest little one. The poor boy, being raised by two parents who were not Christian, and who both went to work and left him with a babysitter all day long. It was a good thing that Hagrid got there in time. 5 years down the road, Harry might have been a fornicating, drug-addicted evolutionist. Don't be silly, Harry! Aunt Petunia commanded, wrung her long, bony hands. Come back inside! I'll read to you about evolution from the Dawkins. You do not need that silly religion. Harry scrunched up his innocent little face, and he thought hard. Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon were as close to parents as he had, and this was the only home he knew. Could he really leave? But he was saved now. He had prayed the sinner's prayer. He could not stay home anymore, and not with what he now knew. Suddenly, he knew what he had to do. No, Aunt Petunia, he uttered calmly with childlike wisdom. Evolution is not real, and I'm going to Hogwarts. No, Harry, Aunt Petunia screeched desperately. I have an idea. You can have a second birthday today. You like birthdays, right? Birthdays are not of God, Harry verbalized knowingly, and looked at his aunt with innocent wisdom. You tried to corrupt me, but it did not work. But I forgive you, Aunt Petunia, because of Luke 23:34. Yeah, this is not an author's note. This is a Ty note. He just learned about Christianity, and he's already quoting scripture.
Yeah.
That comes back later on. All right. Hagrid was amazed once again at the wisdom of little ones. He did not know if he could forgive someone who had hurt him as much as this woman had hurt little Harry. Deny him the truth? Who could be so cruel? But Harry did not even think twice about it. He forgave, just like that. Hagrid truly gained a new understanding of Matthew 19:14 that day. Do not leave, Harry, Dudley wailed childishly. I must, Harry said, and stepped over the threshold. Goodbye, Dursleys. I hope you are saved too one day. And with that, he and Hagrid began to walk down Private Drive. I misspelled private there. How will you get to this school, Hagrid? Harry queried curiously. We will pray, Hagrid retorted knowledgeably. How do we do that? Harry solicited inquisitively. "Watch," Hagrid said, and he got down on his knees on the road. He motioned for Harry to get down on his knees too. Hagrid raised his hands to the heavens and cried out in a deep, thunderous voice, "Dear Lord, take us to Hogwarts!" Harry felt himself being whisked away, and in a moment he was sitting in the cool, damp grass outside of a humongous, beautiful castle. He looked in awe at the tall towers and the grey stones. What a beautiful place! A tall, thin man with a long, pointed beard and a big, wire spectacles stood in front of Harry. He was wearing a brown tweed suit and a nice matching hat. His shoes were made of leather and polished until they shone. He had a smile much like Hagrid's smile, so peaceful. Harry just knew he could trust him. A lovely, kindly young woman with flowing blonde hair and a pleasant, heart-shaped face stood beside this holy man. "Hello there, little one," the man greeted amicably. "I am the Reverend Albus Dumbledore, and this is my wife Minerva. Welcome to the Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles." Blessings. End of chapter 2.
Jesus Christ. Can I just say, your Petunia voice, I can see coming from, like, one of the people in Jabba's palace.
Well, I kind of think that Aunt Petunia kind of came from Jabba's palace.
Yeah,
so
I can see that as well. Yeah. Also, if this kid, like, is it revealed that, like, Harry's parents were killed by Satan or something?
You know, I was skimming some of it. I don't even know if they talk about Harry's parents after this.
Like, they're gone.
But I'm pretty sure that whoever wrote this, this Grace Ann who wrote this, only like read a short synopsis of the book.
Yeah.
Because it gets real off kilter from here on out.
Like Snape actually is an evolutionist, but he won't tell anybody, but then he gets saved near the end.
Yeah, kind of I mean, stuff like that happens. I mean, obviously Dumbledore's already married to Minerva McGonagall.
Yeah.
And, again, I mean, I can read the next chapter if you want.
I think we've gone about as far as possible.
Yeah.
And this
No. I'll give you a few tastes then. A few tastes.
Okay.
To whet your appetite. Hermione is Dumbledore and Minerva's daughter.
Okay.
The Weasleys are Slytherins.
What?
Yeah. Oddly, Draco's a Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Luna's a Hufflepuff. And Harry is a Gryffindor. Now, the key is, there's no real sorting. You get to choose your house. But you choose your house, and this is where the stereotypes come in. That's where the stereotypes really start to play. Because obviously this person whoever wrote this has a very, very skewed vision of Christianity, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because the Slytherins are Catholics in this synopsis. Okay. Basically Dumbledore says that all four houses believe in God, but they do it differently. So they don't get along. They're not Gryffindors, which are the true. And the true, basically, they describe Gryffindor as believing in the Bible and only the Bible. And how Catholics apparently pray to idols and worship Mary and all these other things. And then Luna is a vegan.
Oh, no.
And that's what Hufflepuff House is, just a bunch of vegan environmentalists. And then Ravenclaw is just a bunch of stuck-up people, and that's what Draco said. But I do want to see if I can find a couple lines.
Okay. While you do that, I will say we didn't get to talk about Luna, but God, I love Luna.
Yeah. How did we miss that?
We missed Luna, and we missed the introduction of Tonks, who I think when my baby comes out, she's either going to be Luna or Tonks, and I'm like, I don't know which one I want more, to be honest. Like, sweetie, our baby's hair is pink. Oh, wait, now it's blue. Now it's red. What happened? We had a Tonks.
All right, here we go. This is a great line here. "Please ignore this fool," Draco drawled smugly. "Luna here thinks she can have a career even though she's a woman, and women are stupid."
Oh, God.
Harry gaped at this horrible person. What a mean thing to say. "Women should not have careers because women are stupid," Harry shouted indignantly. "Women are not stupid at all. Women should not have careers because women are nurturing and loving and their gifts serve them best in the home." Yeah, that's one of the lines.
Good
yeah, so,
God, Ty.
I know, I guarantee you, like, this is well worth the 14 chapters of reading. Look, this is the last one I'll read just because I know that you'll appreciate this. So, Voldemort is basically, he's trying to get Congress to outlaw Christianity.
Oh, okay.
And that's why he's evil. That's why they don't like Voldemort. So here we go. Okay, so Voldemort apparently comes to Hogwarts disguised as Tom Riddle.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a flip-flop there a little bit. So here's Dumbledore. You're still pretending to be dumb, the Reverend pointed out truthfully. We all know your plot to legalize Christianity, Voldemort. Voldemort blinked stupidly again and questioned evilly, wait, is this about my Reddit account? Is that what you call your godless coven? Dumbledore queried knowingly. Well, yes, I have indeed seen your so-called Reddit account, and just try to deny your hatred of Christianity when you post things like, this is all misspelled, by the way.
Okay.
Christians all sucks. Their religion is stupid and should be illegal. I will write to Congress and tell them to make law.
Jeez.
Harry Potter laughed intelligently because Voldemort did not even understand proper spelling and grammar.
Good God.
Yeah, so, apparently it all starts from a Reddit account.
You picked, like, the best one to read right before I read mine about my gay Slytherin.
I just cleansed us after my immortal a little bit here.
That's what it was.
So it's good. It's great. It's not good.
Yeah.
It really, the main warning I would say is if anyone out there who has no idea about Christianity, please don't take this at face value.
Yeah.
This is not what Christianity is about. So just have this little plug right there.
But do you know what I'm all... Speaking of plugs...
Yeah.
Let's talk about merch.aloadofpurebs.com, the website.
Oh, I want to. Yes, let's do that.
It's a website where you get shirt and cup and many other things, all from the BS network. Whether you want something for Fight Boys or a load of BS or fun fiction, we've got merchandise available for you over at merch.aloadofpurebs.com, ladies and gentlemen. So now, Ty, after your great Christian endorsing thing, let's talk about my gay Slytherin son, who I love so much, Samuel Nails. Oh God, he's like Snails is basically me. Like the first one I wrote, I literally just stole all of my Pottermore stuff and put it on him. I'm like, his wand is the exact same as my wand. This is the same. Just plug all of this in. But as we learned on last episode, Snails is apparently he's coming to grips with his sexuality after kissing his lifelong friend Joshua Oak, and now he has a boyfriend, and I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, it's growth. That's character development.
Yeah, so let's hear what happens to him. Also his dad may be a horrible Death Eater. Let's see what happens this time. Mom, I'm gay. These words fell out of my mouth after months of eerie silences. Months of staring at Mom from across a quiet dining room table. I still hadn't fully forgiven her for lying to me about Dad, but I knew if anyone needed to hear this, it was her. What I didn't expect, however, was her response. Oh, thank God. I'm sorry? I thought you were going to tell me you were running away from home or that you had become a Death Eater or something. Son, I don't care. Voldemort's returned. The world is erupting in chaos. You can love whoever you want to. I burst into tears right there. Mom was right. Joshua and I loved each other. We had grown up together. He was the only thing convincing me that the world wasn't about to be destroyed. I ran and grabbed my mom in an embrace, and as her tears began to fall down her cheek, I realized a sad fact. That was the first time I had hugged her in 2 years. It was the most joy to fill the Nails household in a very long time. After that day, I began to invite Josh over and introduced him to Mom, and she loved him instantly, although she did chuckle a bit when I told her that he was a Hufflepuff. That was the happiest summer I had had in a long time, because no matter where Josh and I went, no matter how many looks we were shot from passerbys, we were safe there. Nobody cared. I wish I could say the same for when I went back to Hogwarts. I mean, a few students were fine when we walked down the halls holding hands. Most just gave us raised eyebrows, but even more mocked us. It killed me inside to see students that I called friends last year immediately turning on me. But at least it was just the students. Most of the professors seemed fine with it. Dumbledore even smiled at us as he passed us by, but there was one exception, however. Mr. Nails and Mr. Oak, if you could kindly move seats. Professor Umbridge announced loudly to the class. Joshua looked at me with a small smirk as he immediately began packing up his things. Wait a minute, why? We've sat by each other every day this year. I attempted to respond, but she wasn't having it. I just don't want you two to get distracted by one another. Heather, would you mind taking Joshua's seat? And with that, she sent a young Slytherin named Heather Pence towards me. She had developed quite early as opposed to the other girls in the class, and it seemed clear to me exactly what Umbridge was doing as the young girl swayed her hips and plopped down next to me. It was gross, to say the least. When her efforts seemed to not work, things got worse. Umbridge moved Joshua from our class into another and did everything in her efforts to keep us apart. I barely got to see him for the first few months back in class, and Umbridge's reign of terror kept getting worse and worse. But luckily, a few students began to take matters into their own hands. Nails! A voice called out from behind me one day. I turned and was in shock as Harry Potter stood right in front of me. I was surprised he still remembered my name, and we only talked that one time in the library. You need to come with me. Potter led me through the halls until suddenly a massive doorway began to appear next to us. The very rock of the castle walls began to move and shift until it formed a massive entryway. The Room of Requirement. I commented quietly as the doorway slowly swung open to reveal several Hogwarts students all practicing spells and working on defense, something that Umbridge had slowly been phasing out from her defense against the dark arts classes in order to get us ready for our owls. I walked in, face painted with shock and awe, when suddenly the group of young wizards parted to reveal Joshua. I nearly collapsed right there. It felt like my heart was trying to jump out of my chest, and I followed its lead as I rushed towards him and embraced him. And they applauded. Every single one of those students in that room applauded Joshua and I couldn't help it. I pulled back and gave him a massive kiss. It was like fireworks exploded above our heads. We both started giggling as we pulled away from one another. So, what exactly is this? I finally asked after calming myself. This is Dumbledore's army. We're working to train ourselves to fight Voldemort when he comes. Us? Fighting Voldemort. Harry's been training us. Joshua smiles as he takes me over to Potter once again. Face it, we haven't exactly had the best defense against the dark arts teachers. If anybody can teach you to defend yourself against Voldemort, wouldn't the boy who lived be your first choice? Fair enough. Joshua's voice convinced me. He was certain that Harry could protect us, that he could lead us to fight against Voldemort, and his certainty gave me certainty. And from that day forward, Joshua and I joined Dumbledore's army, and we trained hard. We learned several protection charms and different attacks to unleash on our enemies, and all of us in that room grew closer as a result. Unfortunately, as we grew in power, the rest of the school seemed to weaken under Umbridge's grasp. You're joining the Inquisitorial Squad? I burst into the Slytherin common room, confronting Malfoy. Yes, Snails. Do you have a problem with that? Look, I expected a lot out of you, but joining Umbridge? Working to rat out other students? It's like you've never met me at all, he responded with a smug grin that sent a shiver down my spine. I have met you, and I know that you're someone who respects power. Hell, as a Slytherin, I know that we all respect power, but exactly what kind of a power do you have playing second fiddle to her? I'll tell you, none. You're just a lapdog to that woman. And tell me, Snails, what kind of power do you have working under Potter? Because at least at the end of the day, I know that I'm working for what's right, and not some lying Gryffindor that's trying to cover up what he did wrong. What are you talking about? Think about it, Snails. No one has seen or heard from you-know-who. The only person who claims that he's returned is Potter, the same person that was with Cedric Diggory when he died. Now, you and I both know just how competitive that man is. I mean, we've seen him on the Quidditch pitch. And you're telling me that there's not a teeny, tiny possibility that Potter saw Diggory about to beat him to the Triwizard Cup, and then Harry made a decision. A decision that ended the life of Cedric Diggory. That's not possible. And then, when he emerged, he decided to give us all a little sob story about the return of he who should not be named in order to distract us and keep us off the trail of what he did wrong. You see, you think Umbridge is the bad person here. But she's not. She's the one defending truth, the one defending honor. All Potter's doing is sensationalizing each and every one of you into thinking there's going to be a wizarding war, that Voldemort has returned, when in reality, he killed Cedric Diggory and is trying to make himself a hero out of it. I can't believe that. I don't... Hey guys, you might want to look at this. Crabbe screamed as he rushed into the room, wielding a copy of the Daily Prophet. Across the top was the headline, Mass Breakout from Azkaban. My heart fell into my stomach as I looked down the list of escaped Death Eaters, looking past Bellatrix Lestrange and Augustus Rookwood when my eyes landed on one single name. Gregory Nails. Well, Snails, looks like you're due for a little family reunion. No. I was screaming in the room of requirement. Joshua was trying to calm me down, but I wouldn't relent. I couldn't believe it. My father was free. I could meet him. I could get answers, but he could also kill me. All of these possibilities swirled around in my head until I screamed in pain and sent a massive bolt of energy from my wand straight into the back wall of the room, weakening the bricks around them. Sam, stop! Joshua finally grabbed me and held me tight, keeping my arms at my sides. I began bawling into his robes as the door finally opened behind us to reveal the rest of Dumbledore's army. Everything all right? Hermione asked quietly as she walked over to us and gave me a small hug. I held up the copy of the Prophet and her eyes widened. We need to get to work fast. After that day, our lessons became more intense, with Harry focusing on getting us ready to fight the Death Eaters. He taught us more advanced spells and helped us to find our Patronuses. Mine came out as a sparrow, while Joshua's hopped across the floor as a small mouse. Unfortunately, thanks to the efforts of Draco and a few weakened bricks near the back of the room, we were soon exposed to Umbridge. And that was the death of Dumbledore's army. Or so we thought. You see, close to the end of the year, I saw Harry and a few members of the army, including Joshua, rushing through the halls of Hogwarts. I quickly joined them as they relayed their plan. Apparently, Sirius Black was being attacked by some unknown force at the Ministry of Magic, and it was up to us to fight him. I wasn't exactly sure why they wanted us to save Sirius. I mean, after all, he did help my dad escape from Azkaban, according to the Prophet, but if Sirius was there, that meant my dad would be too. It was my first time ever being in the Ministry, and it was massive, to say the least. We made our way through the building when suddenly we came upon a massive room with large orbs sitting on pedestals, the Department of Mysteries. We finally found an orb that Harry claimed to be his prophecy, a mystery involving him. Before any of us could get a good look at it, however, black smoke began to pour from the sky as Lucius Malfoy appeared before us. I was frozen in fear as more and more Death Eaters appeared around us, each sporting terrifying metallic masks. A Death Eater slowly advanced on me when suddenly I heard Joshua call out, "Confringo!" And with that, a massive burst of fire shot out from his wand and sent the Death Eater flying back. I finally snapped out of my frozen stance as Joshua grabbed my hand, and we began to rush throughout the halls of the Ministry of Magic. A few Death Eaters were on our tails. "We need to get you out of here." "What? Why?" "We have to help Harry," I responded as we quickly ducked behind a large pillar. "You'll be no use to Harry if you're dead," he responds as suddenly a massive burst of magic erupts against the pillar, sending it crashing to the ground and bringing Joshua down with it. "Josh!" I cried out as I tried to pull him free from the rubble when suddenly another burst of magical energy connects with my shoulder and sends me crashing to the ground. It felt like my shoulder was on fire, tearing from my body itself. I tried to pull myself back as the Death Eater continued to advance on me, before pulling his mask away to reveal the face of a terrifying man, sporting a long, dark beard. "Joshua Oak." The man laughed as his one good eye continued to stare at me. "I've heard you're quite the wizard. Not as good as your father, I reckon. But I guess that's just what happens when you spend your time kissing all over some filthy Hufflepuff mudblood." "Don't you talk about him," I cried out as I quickly grabbed my wand and aimed it directly at his skull. He merely laughed at this and began to advance towards Joshua, holding his wand out ominously. "Really, boy? You think you can do anything with that I can't do 10 times better and faster? He laughed ominously and then suddenly called out, Crucio! And with that, a bolt of energy struck Joshua across the chest, and he began to convulse violently. His body heaved as it continued to stay buried underneath that rubble. I couldn't take it anymore. I slowly worked my way back to my feet as my rage built. The Death Eater seemed too amused with Joshua's suffering to pay attention as my body began to fill with pure hatred for that man. I held out my wand, and I screamed, Avada Kedavra! And suddenly, my entire body was being shoved to the ground by an unknown force. I struggled underneath their weight when from above me, I heard that figure call out, Petrificus Totalis! And a massive bright light exploded from above me. I grunted as I attempted to stand, trying to shove the figure off of me, but I suddenly felt its weight lifted. I stood up to see the Death Eater frozen in place as that shadowy figure made their way over to Joshua and slowly pulled him out from the rubble, casting some healing spells to fix him up. Who are you? I asked nervously when the figure turned towards me and began to advance, his face slowly becoming illuminated. It was old and weathered, with long, wavy hair flowing down to his shoulders. He smirked at me, his mustache curling up as it did. He walked over and gave me a small pat on the head as a tear began to run down my cheek. Dad? We've got a lot to talk about, kid. To be continued.
Man, that was good. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, boy. That's the bad thing is, like, I will never get the response that my Immortal does.
Well, you know, it was one of those things. I think one thing that you should think about is maybe releasing some of the film of you reading it, because I got entranced watching you read that. Entranced.
I was like, yes, boy. So apparently his dad isn't bad. Who knows?
Well, I mean, you can still be bad and love your kid, right?
Yeah. Did you have the same? Because I did write in a tease of thinking that original Death Eater was his dad.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm going to put this, but then I'm going to do the old switcheroo on him. But, yeah, that's been something I've known from the beginning, so I've just been quietly sitting back like,
nice.
Can't tell nobody. But yeah, I'm very happy that got to get out for Joshua, and I'm happy you joined me, my boy.
Yes, well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Where can people find you if you would like them to find you?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we could spread the news, I guess. Birmingham has its first improv theater now.
I'm super hyped because you also said there's a podcast studio.
Yes, we are putting a podcast booth in. We're going to be teaching classes. We're teaching stand-up, improv, comedy writing. We're going to be doing shows Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. So all kinds of improv. And
where would, if they had to find that online, where would they find it?
It'd be birminghamprovtheater.com.
Now, are you...
And theater R-E, not E-R.
Yeah. Now, are you teaching podcasting classes, and do you need someone, boy?
Well, you know, that's actually something we haven't talked about. But if we do... I know exactly the man to find.
You know where I'm at, boy. And you can find me on Twitter at ScottyMo, ScottyMo. Buy all my books on Amazon, the Queasel Corp trilogy, BS versus the Gods. So check that out. Check out all the other shows at aloadofpurebs.com, including the return of A Load of BS. We defeated the podcast Illuminati. We did a giant musical because of it. It was insanity. So check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Little bit of show notes. We are now moving to a bi-weekly show. So now instead of being weekly, it's going to be every 2 weeks instead of every 1 week, just so I can keep finding awesome guests like Ty to come on here, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, it builds a little bit. It builds the suspense a bit.
Yeah.
You know? I gotta wait 2 more weeks to learn more about my Immortal.
Yeah, and so check that out. Make sure to donate to our Patreon to keep this going. Make sure to check out all our merch at merch.loadofpurebs.com and subscribe, rate on iTunes, do all that good stuff. But until next time, Ty.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you know the words to end the magical spell to end every show?
Oh, God.
It's a warning to stay away from a certain individual. A certain young individual.
I don't think I've actually ever finished an episode. I've gotten to this point.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
My favorite.
You know, I do listen to this at work, so sometimes I have to get it off real quick.
My favorite thing about having guests is each time being like, and then we end every show by telling people, stay away from baby Hitler.
I love it. I love it.
Little Umbridge, stay away from her.
Yes, exactly. Little Mike Pence.
Yeah.